Hi everyone, it's Monday, start of a new week. It's very exciting. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like it feels like the end of, or well, near the end of January is a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of hope. I know there's been some news, and actually I haven't looked at the news for a few days, but I have heard that there has been some news about the schools possibly opening for a lot longer, closing, sorry, for a lot longer. And I know some of you probably don't want to hear that, I'm sure. But it's nearly the end of January, which I think is quite exciting. And the evenings are starting to get a little bit lighter as well, which is lovely. Let's just get you guys up on this computer as well so I can see you all. Yeah, the evenings are starting to get a little bit lighter, which is good. It's weirdly snowing. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. I actually went for a walk this weekend in the snow, but it was only coming down lightly. It wasn't. Tunbridge Wells isn't very heavy on the snow, I have to say. Yeah, it was a little flurry, but it was nice. It was nice while it lasted. What else were you guys up to? Say hello. Tell me what you've been up to over the weekend. We had Sunday board game last night as well with my dad, who's in our bubble. We played a new game called Epidemic. Don't know if anyone's played that. So Epidemic is basically you get a world map and you have to go around fighting off various infections as part of the CDC. So it's quite applicable really for things at the moment. Hello Karen, nice to see you, nice to join us. So that's what we basically did on Sunday, playing board games. Had a quiz night on Saturday as well, which was lovely with friends and family. It was lots and lots of fun. Drank quite a lot of gin, which was nice. And we had a film night on Friday. We watched the film Spy. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it was really funny, really funny. Yeah, I haven't laughed that loud at a film, I don't think, for a long time. So that was very good. So if anyone gets a chance to watch Spy, do. I've also have not yet caught up on the Great Pottery Throwdown. I don't know if anybody else is watching it at the moment. Haven't caught up from yesterday's. It's an absolutely fantastic programme. On Channel 4, I think. So I'm going to catch up with that on Friday. And they were doing fruit and veg bowls as part of their challenge. And so I thought we'd draw some veg today. So I'm going to draw with our oil pastels. So I've got my lovely big set of oil pastels here. And we're going to draw pepper. We're going to do a pepper today. Now, I'm going to do a yellow pepper. But obviously, as we know, they come in different shapes and colours. So if you wanted to do a red pepper or a green pepper, absolutely do those. The principle of it is the same. So I'm going to kind of go through that. And we're just gonna use them as they are, because you can blend oil pastels really, really nicely, like using a bit of kitchen towel or a bit of tissue or something like that. But we're going to go big and bold and chunky with them today. So hopefully you've got your oil pastels ready. Be prepared to get messy, and hopefully you've got some nice thick paper as well. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys was so we did some life drawing at the weekend as part of our Arty Farty community. So we've been doing some technical drawing, and this was one that I did over the weekend. And we're now moving on to another project that's all about abstract art and form. So that's going to be really fun. So if anybody is bored, wants more to do, wants to be part of a little bit of a community and get that little bit of contact, we've got our Arty Farty community. We have workshops once a week. Online via Zoom, but they're always good fun. And then we have different weekly challenges and all sorts of things like that, which is great fun. So if anyone wants any more info on that, just throw a comment up and I'll put some more info. Right, I should probably lie you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to drop you down. I'm going to go for yellows and a little bit of orange for this one. So it's entirely up to you whether you want to go for the red or a green pepper or an orange pepper. So I'm going to go for a nice yellow. I'm just going to go for a real kind of basic yellow. I think can you see my colours? Hopefully you can see my colours. So you can see I've got some nice light ones here. I'm going to use the white as well, and I am going to use a bit of orange and possibly a little bit of light brown as well, just to fill in those shadows. But at the moment, I'm going to go for just a yellow in the middle is what I'm going for here. And the first thing I'm going to do is almost draw like an outline. So it will help me know where everything's going to go. So drawing peppers is a little bit like, it's a little bit similar to drawing pumpkins, where you've got kind of a big oval in the front and then you can draw a couple of little semicircles coming out. But obviously peppers are a little bit, well this one was particularly, but they're a little bit more square than pumpkins are. I'm going to draw another one there. And then we are going to have a stalk coming out of here. That's going to be green. Oh, Lindsay, oil pastels haven't arrived. Can you use anything else? You could use the same, have you got soft pastels, soft chalks? Because if you've got those, you could actually use those in the similar kind of way. You'll just have to smudge a bit more and get your fingers a bit more messy, that's all. So let me know if you've got soft pastels. If not, you can use a similar process with crayons. They just won't smudge into each other as well, that's all. So let me know what you're using. From Ruby, yes, crayons, yes, Ruby. You can absolutely use crayons. So they might just not smudge as easily on top, but they'll still work. So absolutely you can use crayons. So you can see that I'm using the base colour. So whether you choose red or green, or you're going with the yellow, just colour in that whole shape that you've done. I'm going to leave a gap there for our stalk though, that's going to come out. And I'm just rubbing it in with the yellow. So your crayons, if you're using crayons, Ruby, they might not go on as well, but that's no problem. You can use crayons. There we go. So I'm really pushing them in. Oh, I hope your oil pastels and your chalks arrive soon, Lindsay and Ruby. It's nothing more frustrating than waiting for your art materials. There we go. So I'm going to put that in. Now, just so that we don't kind of colour it over, I am going to use... oh, what greens have I got? I've only got really bright greens in here, actually. I want like a sagey green. Maybe go for that one. Oh, that was too bright. Maybe this one. So I'm going to go for green. And again, I'm using kind of a sagey sort of colour green here, but it doesn't matter. Any green will do. There we go. And I'm just going to make it... I'm going to make the stalk quite angular. I think they do come out quite angular. I have actually got... I can't believe it because I'm not green fingered at all. But I have actually got a pepper growing, a pepper plant growing and a pepper growing off it. I'm very impressed with myself. It's only about that big, but and green, and I think the seeds might have come from red peppers, but it looks beautiful. Okay, so I'm just marking that out in a green for now. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, now that you've kind of blocked that out really nicely in the colour, is use, I'm going to go for dark, kind of light orange here. So if you're using crayons, guys, obviously go for a lightish orange if you can, or just any orange. That is going to be, just going to peel off that bit of paper there. That is going to be our shadow maker, effectively. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that. There's lovely dogs barking outside. It's great. So I'm going to come in here where I first drew that oval shape. I'm going to come in here and colour over the top of the yellow. Now this is where if you're using crayons, it might not show up as well, but give it a go, persevere. So I'm going to leave the top bit, because if the light was shining, kind of imagining that the light's shining this way, so that would still pick up some of the light. So I'm going to colour in right to the edge there with our orange. There we go. And into there. And then a little bit, so I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap and then just put a little bit on the left side of this oval in the front. And again, you can see I'm not being very precious about the shape or anything. I'm literally just whacking on. So this is what we like about oil pastels. It's big and bold. And then the other place I'm going to put orange is just underneath and just slightly up on the right hand side, because obviously the lower bit, there will not be much light getting to there either. Okay. Now, where all of these are kind of curved inwards towards our stalk, if the light's coming from this direction, there will be a shadow here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow on the top there, and a little bit on the one behind as well. And then a tiny bit here where the shadow will come from the green stalk. Hello Nikki, all the girls is that messaging, I think. There we go. So the next step is to find an even darker colour. Now if you're doing a red pepper, you might want to start using like some purples, or if you've got a really deep red. If you're doing a green pepper, you might want to start using some blues. I'm going to use, because I'm doing a yellow pepper, I'm going to start using some red. So I'm going to bring some red in here, and we're going to get the real dark bits. So I'm going to go right along the side there and right into that curve there. Just bring it up slightly. So I'm going to hold that up so that you can see where I've gone. So I'm almost just, so you've still got that orange that's darkening it, but then I've added some red in to really darken it up. So again, depending on what colour pepper you're doing will depend on the colours you use. If you've gone for green, a blue will certainly make a really nice shadow. If you've gone for red, a purple will make a really nice shadow. So I'm just going to put some there and there, I think. And maybe just a little bit there where that pepper was coming over. So, whoop, there we go. Can you see that? So literally just put it on what would be the darkest parts of our pepper. Okay. So there are shadows. So the next thing we need to add is the highlights. So we're going to go, I'm going to go for a white. Let's use that one because it looks cleaner. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of white where we want the highlights. So the almost the opposite side to where we've got the dark bits. I'm going to put a bit of white in there, a bit of white on top of these, a little bit there as well. And there, so it's quite subtle, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick it up on the camera. Maybe you will if I hold it up. I'll show you. I've put quite a lot in there. I'm going to kind of smudge it on as well. Again, that's a really nice thing about oil pastels, which you might have difficulty doing with crayons, but don't worry. Rafi has stolen the iPad. Amazing. I'm loving the comments from Rafi. That's lovely. There we go. So hopefully you can see where I've added in those highlights. It almost looks like I've taken a rubber to it and just rubbed out a bit of colour. And the nice thing about oil pastels, you can layer on top. So we've just layered up some of the highlights there. So we're going to do exactly the same with the stalk. So I'm going to use a darker green to go kind of underneath, where this is probably the darkest green actually. There we go. So I'm just going to add tiny, tiny bits underneath. A slightly darker green. I went straight in with the darkest, didn't I? There we go. Slightly darker green in there. So I'm going to hold that up so it's easier for you to see. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the white. I'm going to take the white, and even though it's got a bit of yellow on it, which actually I don't mind doing, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow highlights along with the white in with there. I might actually use a nice bit of yellow on there as well. So I've used the base colour of the green, a slightly darker green around here and around the bottom bit there, an even darker green, our darkest green to just highlight, just go over the shadows, and then a white and a yellow to highlight the colours at the top. Just saying that because I appreciate I did that rather quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 colours we've put in that stalk. And that's, again, that's the really nice thing about oil pastels, is you can put so much colour in It's great. And the stalk's always going to be green, no matter what colour your pepper is, just to point that out. So I'm going to do a little bit of a shadow. So I'm just going to use a bit of a grey. I might use a lighter grey than that actually. And just put a little bit of a shadow all the way to the edge. All the way under there. There we go. Just because it looks nicer to have your pepper not floating in midair. Looks nicer to have a little bit of shadow. Now what you can do to kind of tie in the shadow with your coloured pepper is also add in a little bit of yellow to your shadow, just here and there. I'm going to smudge it back in a bit with the grey. There we go. One pepper with shadow and stalk. Can't wait to see yours. So do take photographs for me and pop them in the comments because it'd be lovely to see. Look at the state of my fingers already. This is the trouble with oil pastels, actually with chalks as well, to be fair. Ends up completely and utterly covered your fingers. So tomorrow we will use the soft chalks. So Lindsay and Ruby, hopefully you've got your soft chalks by then. If you haven't, you can, could you use colouring pencils? Maybe use colouring pencils, or what could you use instead of soft chalks? Or if you've got like chalkboard chalks, something like that would work as well. Hopefully you've got them by then, which would be great. I think that's it. That's it for today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Even Rafi stealing the iPads. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 PM with just normal white paper and hopefully your soft chalks as well would be great. So I'll see you then. Have a very good rest of your Monday. As I say, start of a new week, which is rather lovely. See you then. Bye.